Hello and welcome to the Citizen Feed, your podcast for everything Star Citizen. I am Ep3 and I'm here with my mates.
Delta X85. So what we're going to do here, we're going to give the citizens a review. I know we probably, we have subscribers now. So for those subscribers that have been watching since the beginning, we apologize for reintroducing ourselves, but it's necessary because the podcast is actually getting some circulation, and we appreciate the opportunity to bring you this, and we appreciate the interaction as well. I'm Delta X85, and Mozsta, tell us about yourself and what you do in the game.
Yeah, I'm Mozsta69, guys, part of the one and only skeleton crew based here in Sydney, Australia, and I'm a SC player and SC lover. We're kind of focused on making money is what our org is focused on, but to be honest, at the moment, we're just doing PvP.
Oh, what PvP? I thought you were all on logistics and shit. Now you decided to wreak havoc in the verse.
Yeah, I mean, we've kind of been forced to do that, but we've stepped out of our comfort zone the last few months now, and we're embracing the PvP quite well. So yeah, it's been a lot of fun.
Oh shit! So what about you, Ace36? What's up with you, the man of mystery?
I'm from Stanton directly, vivid Star Citizen fanboy, if you want. And lately I am totally not a pirate.
Taking that was a bit of sarcasm there because you look like a fucking pirate.
Hey, don't judge on looks, okay?
You also sound like you write letters with newspaper clippings.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. And like he's on the ID channel or investigation channel, and then he can't reveal his identity.
That's it.
I'll just say this: I don't have a citizen ID number, so
he's a fucking illegal alien.
And you know what? We're thankful Ace makes the trip from Stanton all the way to Seoul every week. His Cutlass is just parked outside, so we're appreciative of that.
Thanks for the QT fuel.
And Delta, did you introduce yourself, mate?
No, I haven't yet. I decided that I would be humble and let you guys go first. So I'm Delta X85, a relatively new player. Been in the verse for, I guess I'm gaining some time now. So I've actually been in the verse for about a month or so now. Getting established, getting the org set up, initiated the beginning of the podcast, getting it set up. I do plan to start streaming soon. As far as this week, I've really been focusing on a lot of admin work, getting individuals into the org, getting them established, new players trained up, players into the org, giving them roles and whatnot. As far as gameplay, been working on a lot of bounties, buying ships. Did wind up getting me a Sentinel the other day, so
nice.
I've got it maxed out. I went to Urkel, tweaked with some settings.
God bless Urkel.
Yes, thank you. That is an amazing tool. Made a shopping list, went around, bought everything. Got myself now to where I can actually destroy Hammerhead by myself. So I think my pilot skills are getting better. By no means am I a great pilot, but I'm definitely better than mediocre. Proud of that. And most of this week, though, honestly, even though there were a few days there, I pulled probably 10 or 12 hours in the game and had to go to work at like 5 a.m. and went to bed at 4:30 kind of thing. So I've been grinding it out, man. Just a lot of admin work this week. Really trying to get the Order of Zion built up and get the right players into the org. Very particular about that, man. I make sure we have exclusive membership. Anyone's eligible to join the actual Discord. However, our applicants for the actual org, we have very stringent standards. So I'd say about 2 out of 10 get in. 20% acceptance rate.
Ooh.
Then not even all of those. I mean, I got one player that's been in the game for a while, and I explained to him what our intentions would be and my plans for the game, and he was like, Delta, do you understand that they don't even have the mechanics in the game for you to pull that off? And I'm like, yeah, dude, I absolutely fucking understand that. But when those mechanics go in, we're already operating that fucking way, dude. And he's like, oh, okay, yeah, I get it now. Yeah. So, and sometimes it's like they don't see the point in it. But I'm like, dude, this is how we're gonna do it. And I have players that choose not to be in the org after they join, and it's cool. I mean, I'm not a slave grinder. I have some deep ideas about our gameplay, and I play from our end game backwards, dude. That's it. So I'm rambling on.
That was kind of like your week in review as well, Delta.
Let's seamlessly move into that because I kind of stole that show there. So
we'll move into the week in review, guys, which is a segment where we all talk about our experiences in the game this week. I'll start off with mine. I won't be as humble as Delta, and I'll talk about myself. So we had a great time this week. The Skeleton Crew. We've been running amok in our hammerheads, and I think we've been providing a lot of entertainment to people on our server. So we've been fully crewing the hammerhead now for a second week in a row, and just doing the triangle of death, as we like to call it, which is from Port Olisar to Security Port Corea to Grimhex, and just sort of patrolling around and engaging everyone and anyone. And last week it was amazing because the whole server, it felt like the whole server anyway, came at us. They bought the RSI Mantis and threw it at us, and they, jammed our quantum travel, and we weren't able to retreat. But we still held our own. We were fighting for over 40 minutes. We killed about 4 or 5 people, or 2 or 3 people, sorry. And this Mantis was like the bane of my life, and I was determined. I was flying the Hammerhead while my crew were shooting their weapons and stuff in the turrets. And I was so annoyed with this Mantis that I got what pilots shouldn't be getting, and that's tunnel vision. And I was so focused on this Mantis that when it started to fall apart and spiral away from me, I could have easily just let it go and we could have quantum traveled somewhere else. But no, Mozsta69, he decided to pursue this Mantis, and I noticed it started spiraling even more and more aggressively. And then I kind of snapped out of my tunnel vision, and lo and behold, I was 4,000 meters away from the surface of Yella, going full speed towards the moon, and we crashed and burned. And and we were all in prison after that, and we had a wonderful time learning how to escape from prison as well. So that was one part. Another part was obviously, guys, 314's been released to Wave 1, and I dove into that, and I'm sure we'll get into 314 in future episodes when we all get our hands around it. But, we've spoken about what's in and not in it in previous episodes. And I'm really impressed with the stability. I was worried about the frame rates being like really bad, but they were actually okay for me. And the beauty of Orison and all the combat changes and the HUD changes, I'm really excited to get my hands on further and learn more about. Can you pull
out your weapon now?
Actually, don't know.
You haven't tried it?
No, I haven't tried pulling out a weapon yet. So yeah, I'm sure I'll find out. But yeah, that's my week, guys. Ace, your week, my friend?
Well, I had a pretty relaxed week in this regard. I mean, one day I was just flying around and looking at stuff.
Yep.
Like saying goodbye to 313, so to say, and unequipping all my components. That was a main priority for me, so I don't lose them in the upgrade and have like a slim chance to keep them once the PU goes live.
Very smart. And
yeah, that was the one session, and the other session I had, that was actually pretty cool because we ended up on a server with like 5 people maybe. And we declared grim hacks like the kill zone of the server, and like everybody went there, and we've been fighting for hours and hours, and everybody was just running back to a ship, getting it out, getting another one out, flying out, and it was a free for all the time. That was big fun. Shout outs to Biggie Blackhand at this point. You did good, and I'll get you next time.
Very nice.
Otherwise, I haven't done much. I haven't checked out the PDU yet since I live in the live universe. I obviously have to wait till the PU launches, and then I'll check out
That's right.
how stuff is.
It was flying around reminiscing about that buggy bitch.
Well, you gotta say goodbye. You gotta say goodbye, man. We had so much fun in it. You have to say goodbye. And unequip your stuff.
Yes, unequip your stuff, guys. And I think, Delta, you kind of ran your week in review, unless you wanted to add anything more.
No, dude, I did that. So I killed 2 birds, 1 stone kind of deal. So what we're going to do right now is we're going to slide into Star Citizen Calling All Devs, the core gameplay update video on YouTube, SE release. So
really interesting, actually.
Yeah, it actually was very dense, and I think the 27-minute length that was. So with that video, we had Jared Huckabee with Richard Tyre. Is that the proper pronunciation for his last name? I don't know. If it's wrong, correct me. He was the core gameplay director.
Yeah.
They covered a lot of information in a little bit of time. However, the bulk of the information was related to what's coming in 3.15 with medical gameplay.
Yeah,
that was very interesting. I mean, so some of the ideas there we had is you're gonna have health on limbs. So each limb is gonna have health HP. Then as your HP depletes and it gets to a certain point, you could, injure your limb. Even after you heal that limb, you will still have negative ramifications until you reach a medical facility to get the proper treatment to fix it. And that will actually have effect on your gameplay. Until you do, you may not be able to run. You may not be able to climb. What was the most interesting aspect of that for you guys that you noticed?
Well, what I liked is the head injury part he was talking about, because once you get one really hard on the head, you get blurry vision, and your character might not be able to aim as good as before, and your weapon may sway and all that. That's really cool, and I'm really looking forward to that, because all those character effects are actually that slight immersive element that just adds a little bit on top, I mean, it's cool that we can eat right now, but it doesn't have real consequences. But some of the effects we already have, I mean, like if you pull hard G's, your vision goes red and you almost pass out. All this stuff is already in, so I'm really happy to see more of that. And I mentioned, once you had a head injury, you might not be able to stand as well when there are force reactions, and everybody knows that. If you've been standing around on a carrick when it was flying out of atmosphere, man, you fall sometimes.
Yeah,
that's going to get worse, and that's really cool, because I always had this slight problem with video games, that your character always feels like this super awesome hero, and you don't have consequences. So this is like really good. And the other thing they talked about, which was particularly interesting to me, was that you won't be able to access like your whole inventory. You only have what you took with you. On your ship, there's only what you put on the ship. If it gets blown up, the stuff is gone. If you die, you lose all the stuff, even if your character might get healed by some insurance company deal thing, whatever.
Yeah, and those items are coming in 3.15, so we'll have player healing, the med gameplay, and the personal inventory. So your inventories are going to change up. You're not going to be able to carry around 800 fucking clips.
Which makes sense, obviously. I mean...
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. The immersion there is getting deeper and deeper, and that word we all love, fidelity.
Fidelity.
Now, the fidelity. The medical gameplay is actually going to be very interesting, and I have one guy that's interested in joining the org that we're communicating with that is obsessed with the medical gameplay. So you guys, if you don't have a, a medical professional, you better get one in soon, because for when we have Death of a Spaceman that comes in, and I personally think it's going to be a long time before they institute that, because we have way too many bugs that's actually causing unnecessary deaths.
Yeah, I agree.
However, when it comes in, you're going to have a down state. So if you're attacked, you're going to go down, and you will be in that down state until you reach the T1, T2, T3 facility that you need to go. So what we have is T1 is going to be the worst of all injuries or medical issues. A T1 facility can actually, aid you with, T2 issues and T3 issues. A T2 facility can aid you with T2 and T3, and then a T3 is what it is. And for those of you that have a Cuddy Red, I'm sorry, the Cuddy Red's only going to be able to do T3. But that down state is actually going to allow you to have time to get to where you need to go. But they're also incorporating pharmaceuticals into the game. What do you think about that, Moz?
Yeah, pharmaceuticals was really interesting. I suppose in that context, and maybe with the Cuddy Red, like let's say you've got a T1 injury, right, which is the worst kind of injury, and let's just pretend like you've got an hour in the down state before you die. My question to you guys, so is the pharmaceutical stuff, it was mainly to kind of help stabilize, maybe make that hour into 2 hours or something? Is that the kind of advantage
Yes.
you get? Yeah.
Yeah. So they were going to have several different drugs. And one of the drugs that was used as an example was, I think if you have an injury, let's say you have a T2 injury in your leg, when you use a med pen, it's going to heal your HP back up. But on the back end of the programming, you have another pool of health that can only be corrected or fixed by going to that facility.
Yeah.
So in that event, you'll have a limp in your leg.
Yeah.
And let's say because of the pain in that leg, that's why you're limping. So painkillers will be introduced to where for a timer will show up. I think he did say that, where you have 1 hour to be able to run around normally. But once that hour is up, but you also have to be careful. You can't just sit there and inject yourself with a shit ton of drugs to manage this and balance that out, because you're gonna OD. He did say that as well.
Yeah. I can see where this is going. Like, we're going to have, limited space, right? You're going to have, maybe a backpack. You might not even have a backpack. You'll have a few pockets and stuff. So you'll have guys that are soldiers, maybe with, their weapons and their guns and stuff. And they might be able to carry a little bit of medical equipment, but you're really going to want a guy that's got a backpack full of pharmaceutical goods. He's got the medical sort of gun, like a medic, right? So with this
the medic, man.
Yeah, what I'm trying to say, there's heaps more objects coming and there's limited space. So everyone's going to be really thinking about who's got what on them when, before they embark on certain activities, which is always immersive and a great experience. So I can't wait.
Getting to where we're specialization, man. We're moving towards that. So when we start bringing people into our orgs, we're going to have to, what do you want to do? We need a medical professional. Yeah. Because I would imagine, I know me, I don't want to be a fucking medical professional. I don't want to be, dependent upon to pick your ass up and take you to the fucking hospital. Yeah. I'll just leave you there, let you die, and reclone. Sorry, you only got like 5 more left now. But so I do have a player that is interested in that, and I'm thankful that I did find that individual. However, when we get into a situation to where, we are, constantly having issues. I mean, think about now when you're playing the game, how many times, if this was instituted in the game, that you would have needed a medical professional, or you would have needed to get to a hospital. So
For sure.
now it's getting to a point to where we're in space, guys. You may not want to go out by yourself anymore after you get to that point, because when Death of a Spaceman comes in, you will be fucked.
Yep. And always, this kind of leads, a lot of people want to play solo and stuff, which is fair enough, man. I'm not in any way saying that's a negative thing. But, when you go mining in a cave or something, slightly dangerous or whatever, having two people, like what this does is kind of makes multi-crewing and multi-grouping even more attractive, because now you can have one guy with, pharmaceuticals in his backpack, one guy with all the mining equipment, or you can halve the load or whatever. So it kind of brings more people together, I think, as well.
A friend of mine has he's in an org that basically is I don't know the name of the equivalents on Earth, but it's like a service. If your ship gets broken in space, they'll pick you up, fix your ship right on the spot. And if you need medical assistance, they also have like a department for that. So it's a space towing truck company that basically helps you out if you get stranded or your ship gets too broken and you don't have the resources to fly back or something. And they plan to focus their gameplay all around that, saving other people, saving their ships and stuff. And
nice.
This will become more. Yeah, and the thing is, this will become more relevant in the future. Right now, it's not so prominent because you can just backspace, wake up on another station. But in the future, it will be slightly different. Your ship won't blow up right away, and it will cost you more to get it claimed and whatnot. And those things might actually become options and gameplay for other players.
Yeah,
which is what makes this so cool. I like the whole interaction between people in the verse, and they're adding more and more and more of that. And I really hope we get some cool medic stuff going from people who like offer their services on global chat and whatnot. And
so, like, spoiler alert, in 3.14, the Orison Hospital is, you can go inside it. There's like trolleys and stuff. There's a pharmacy there. So we were walking around the hospital, going, man, I can't wait for this stuff to be implemented. And I'm just thinking, as your game session or as a streamer, like, imagine one stream, your whole stream might be just going through the hospital process, maybe, just getting picked up from somewhere that you've been injured and in an ambulance the whole way, and your whole stream is just Delta recovering from his wound. Like, that's the name of the stream, and that's just an amazing thing, to be honest. Or maybe if, like, I've got a what's the Apollo, the RSI Apollo. Like, you could just have a game session or a stream, which is kind of like, watching MASH. Remember the old sitcom MASH? Like, just being a doctor and I don't know, helping people out and triaging them and stuff. So anyway.
Yeah. Well, so we sitting here obsessing over the medical gameplay, which was the majority of that video subject, but we are getting FPS radar scanning. So that's going to be fucking awesome, dude. So now when my players in the org want to target those individuals in a UEE identified org, you'll actually be able to scan, and you're going to be able to know what player it is. You're going to know their crime stat level. There's a litany of things that you're going to be able to get data on with the FPS scanning. It's pretty awesome. It's just going to be just like the ship scanning with a slight variation. So you're actually going to be able to ping as well. So from what I understand, the FPS scanning, it's going to passively, by default, always register sound.
Yes.
However, when you ping, even though other people will be able to see your ping, you will be able to see other signatures. So a lot of this, there even may be strategy in pinging to set people up. So that's really interesting. I'm anxious for that because the gameplay on targeting who you're looking for is gonna, or a particular org is gonna come in pretty heavy, and I love that idea.
I'm hoping all of these tools will lead to, the bounty hunting system at the moment that's got a god marker. So when you go after a bounty, everyone everyone on the server knows exactly where that guy is, which is really unrealistic. The guy's got no chance a lot of the times.
It's super annoying.
Yeah.
I recently had something happen to me because of that. Like, I flew to Korea, obviously, to clear my crime stat, and I stopped like a kilometer away from the station.
Yep.
Got out of the ship and thought, okay, maybe I'm harder to hit if I just float over an EVA. And been floating for like 20 minutes, and somebody got to me like 5 meters before I was at the entrance and shut me up.
Yeah.
Haha. Got to. Yeah, great. You shot an unarmed man in EVA.
Yeah.
That's criminal. You were a fucking criminal.
No, I was not. I have diplomatic immunity, and if they checked my records, they would have known.
Oh, okay. I got you.
But yeah, the god marker makes it totally lopsided. People kind of have to go in the middle of nowhere and float in the middle of nowhere to avoid being detected. So I'm hoping all these tools and stuff will enable then CIG to think that it's balanced enough to remove the god marker and give you kind of like maybe an area or something like last scene.
What is this god marker for those who don't know?
So when you're a criminal and someone picks up a bounty on you, you get to see their location, like wherever they are.
Marker, and
like
it's
a mission marker,
right above their head.
Yeah, it doesn't matter where they are.
10 centimeters.
Yeah, doesn't matter where they are or what they do. You know exactly their location, and they don't know anyone else's location, so they're totally, kind of surprised constantly. Apart from the veterans, like, don't get me wrong, the veterans, they fly off, they might kick your ass in PvP, and then they fly off in the middle of nowhere to stay away from everyone. But generally speaking, it's a really unfair advantage that the bounty hunters have that the criminals don't have. So I'm hoping, again, this FPS radar stuff kind of, we move in that direction where we remove the god marker. Be good.
Yeah. So along with that episode, they touched base on hacking being instituted in the game. The current chips that we have will be updated. The personal inventory that's coming is actually now called the Inner Thought System. So we will soon see those developments coming in, potentially 3.15, 16-ish, as we begin that journey there. It's going to change up the gameplay. It was a very dense episode.
Yeah, Delta, just to correct you a little bit, sorry to do that. When you press F, and you can see all the writing everywhere, like open door, closed door, and all that stuff, that is actually the Inner Thought System. That's called the Inner Thought System. What's in the game today? So
I got you.
Yeah,
got you.
How about some ship talk, guys?
Yeah, let's do that.
Ship talk, right? Yep.
Ship talk.
Ship talk. Are you a ship talker?
So this week, it was Delta's wish to talk about the Origin 600i.
Hey, dude, why you gonna fucking call me out like that? Like, I know we gotta talk about the 600i, this piece of shit ship. This is a badass ship, dude. That shit's hot.
Do you like Origin? Do you like Origin, Delta? Are you?
I like bougie. Guy? I like bougie shit, man.
Okay.
I ain't a basic ass motherfucker, dude. I mean, no. Is it something that I want to jump in and always fly around to battle in? No, but dude, I get a hard on when I walk in those ships, man. This shit's sleek. It's sexy. It reminds me of a nice. Let me not use that because it might be a little too intense. But Origins. Dude, it's a hot ass ship. The shit is sexy as fuck. So let's go ahead. Let Ace finish his introduction. I didn't mean to cut him off. He just kind of pissed me off because it's sexy, dude.
All good. Yeah, don't like Origin. Like, absolutely don't like it.
Oh, I felt that. I felt it.
I'm too greedy of a space pirate to like it, you know? It's just, no. No, man, it's, to each his own. I mean, I can understand the beauty of the ships and the attraction they have to people, but they don't have it for me. Neither the touring nor the explorer like do it for me.
Yep.
I mean, I can totally understand the beauty of it, and I mean, it's got some cool features like that glass floor where you can just look through and have the passengers check out space, but that's just not my space adventure, man. It's someone else's.
Yeah. So let's go through some of the specs, yeah? So let's look at the touring. It's got 3 fixed size 5 hardpoints, which is not bad. It's got 2 turrets. Each turret's got 2 guns, 2 size 3 guns. And I think it's got 12 missiles is the touring mode, and which is decent. And how many SKU? The touring mode doesn't have much cargo. It's for touring, so it's for freaking cruising around, exploring. It's only got 16 SKU, so that's interesting, isn't it? Like touring.
They're actually running the same weaponry.
Yeah, except one's got more SKU and probably a better quantum drive or something. I don't know, but
I think the Explorer comes with 40 SCUs.
Yeah.
They're both running M quantum drives.
More space for caviar and champagne, I guess.
So I think the only difference from what I'm seeing here in the comparison is the one, which is the touring, has more of an elegant feel to it, to where the expedition, as you said, it's got larger storage space, and scanning is on the expedition. That's one of the major differences. So as you're scanning and expedition, obviously you're going to need more cargo space.
Makes sense, yeah. Makes total sense.
But it's a nice ship, man. I mean, it's beautiful.
I love the way it looks. There's like a black and gold one somewhere. I don't know what it is or what collectors, I don't know, is it concierge or something, but I've seen a black and gold one, I think, or maybe that was just someone's artwork. I don't know, but it looked freaking sexy as. I think it's got the best bedroom in the verse. You guys have been to the bedroom?
Yeah, of course. Everybody goes.
It's like a double bed with like the whole wall is just glass. So, you could be doing whatever you want to be doing, and the whole universe can just peer into that bedroom. I'm sure the window can get tinted, but mate, that's a pimping bedroom.
Fucking Origin.
Eat chips in bed.
You actually are able to, on Origin, be able to have girls gone wild while fucking fighting, and that's critical. I mean, you can't roll up to a party and be driving your Cuddy and be like, "Oh, you want to jump on my Cuddy?" But you're like, "Hey, you want to jump on my Origin 600i?" And she's like, "Ooh, I like that 600 times."
So I got some stereotypes, right? So I'm a Drake guy, and how I envisage a Drake pilot, right, is like Adidas tracksuit, almost like a jumpsuit with gold chains, hair slicked back, sitting in your Drake, right? That's the Drake guy. The Origin guy, imagine this. Close your eyes and picture this. The Origin guy is, imagine, I don't know, the alarms go off that you're being attacked, right? And you're the co-pilot. The doors swing open to the bridge. In comes Delta with a bathrobe on, no shoes, nothing underneath, just a pimping bathrobe, and sitting down at the controls, going, "Right, let's kill these motherfuckers." That's kind of how I imagine the Origin pilot naked in a bathrobe.
Yeah, just getting up from his partying.
From his spa, partying, whatever, yeah.
He's just getting up. It's like 3 p.m. in the day.
Yeah. That's kind of
Hell
my
yeah.
thing. The only
This shit is beautiful, man.
Yeah,
God
the-
damn.
the-
Yeah, it's pretty, man.
the only critique I have for the 600i specifically is, besides the bedroom and I don't know, is there a pool table there? I think from memory. Besides those little areas, the rest of it is very sterile, in my opinion. It's too white. It's too kind of cold.
Medicinal. It's
Yeah.
very medicinal.
Yeah.
I can see that.
Yeah, it totally feels like a medical facility, man.
So to go along with what you're saying, it's almost so the aesthetic of the visual, as far as the lines, the modern feel to it, it gives you this feeling of elegance.
Yeah.
And when you're actually in it, the colors absolutely invoke this medicinal feel, almost like you're in a fucking hospital.
Yes.
And that's to me, that's like anticlimactic.
Yes. Yeah. And that middle
It
room
neutralizes itself.
What's that middle area with the globe, and is it for scanning? And there's a bunch
don't
of
have
seats.
one.
Yeah.
I've been on one several times. One of my players, he's one of those individuals. He has to list the ships that he doesn't have, as opposed to the ones he does have. And we'll get in this and run some bounties from time to time. And that's bougie bounty is what a bounty I call it.
I mean, I think it. From my memory, it was, I don't know, it was either like really weak at one point, and then they kind of beefed it up, and then they, I don't know, brought it back down again, brought it back up. I don't know. It kind of went, they tweaked it a little bit, the 600i, but I think now
I think it's supposed to go to gold standard soon.
Okay. Yeah. I think it's quite capable now. I think it's quite kind of beefy enough to take a few hits. If you can get those size 5s, onto something, you'll do well. It's got 2 turrets protecting itself. It's maneuverable enough to kind of at least kite away from some fighters and maybe shoot 12 missiles at it. I don't think it's a death.
It's definitely, we've used it several times for bounties. We haven't done any ERTs in it, but we did VHRTs for North Rock. No issue at all. No issue at all.
Sure.
And we've actually used the expedition and the touring, but when it comes to combat, they're essentially the same, because stock, they come out, everything's the same. Your avionics are the same, propulsion, thrusters, systems, weaponry, it's all the same. So the only thing that you're dealing with is you have scanning. The scanning function is different on the expedition, and your ability for cargo space.
Right. Okay. Gotcha.
I personally think that the ships have too beefy guns. Like, they're not supposed to be combat ships. I mean, it's okay if they got some guns to defend themselves, but many of the ships in the verse don't actually need as many guns as they got.
Just because you're rich and you're driving around this elegant fucking bougie bitch doesn't mean that you don't want to blow people out of the fucking water.
But if you're rich, you pay people for that, dude. You get ships flying outside that fly circles around you. That's your
if
first
I'm rich,
line
I
of
may
defense.
just want to use all my time to go around and shoot people in my hot ass sexy ride.
I see what you're saying, Ace, but I always often think about that, like, these rich ships, do they need weapons? But I kind of agree and disagree. The part I disagree is, like, this verse where people can go into a shop and buy a size 10 gun, like any Tom, Dick and Harry can go buy.
Fair enough.
And I'm thinking, like, you're in a luxury yacht in the ocean, and let's say that rule applied on Earth. Anyone could buy an RPG, anti-fucking aircraft missiles. If I was a rich guy, I reckon there would be the most paranoid people in the verse, and they would have the most weapons. So I see what you're saying, but yeah, I just think the verse just changes everything. But yeah.
So let's sum this one up. So is it a go for you, Moss?
Would I have a 600i? So I don't have a 600i, but yes.
Okay.
Because of the bedroom. Just for the bedroom.
Just for the bedroom.
Yes.
Yeah, and I don't even need to ask Ace, so he's already put his thumbs
a
down
no.
on this shit.
Yeah.
For me,
No,
I would absolutely have a 600. So that with this segment, guys, is new to the citizens that are listening. We feel like this is a necessary thing because we have. Does anybody know the number of ships that we currently have in the game?
Oh, I think it's about 120-ish.
A shit ton.
Like
We
that.
have a shit ton of ships. So even if we cover this one every week, we have,
Years.
potentially several years to go through these ships.
Yeah.
And that's one thing that when new players get into game, they're always asking, what ship do I use? What does it do? What is it for? So we're trying to get ahead of the game. As opposed to other creators with podcasts and whatnot, we're trying to give you guys information that's not being given. So each week when we come up with these ships, take a look at them. And if you're a new player, we might be able to help you out with that. So outside of that, we're done with ship talk. Let's move right on, Mazda. Actually, Ace, you're up next.
Actually, Europe.
Actually,
Oh shit. All right, so let's cut that. It's me.
Yeah.
I'm next. 10-4. All right, so we're done with ship talk, and we're gonna move straight into scripted lore.
Time.
Lure. I have to say, I have never been interested in lure of a game ever. To be honest with you, I always thought it was stupid, even though I loved the game. With this podcast, we've been trying to tap into different subjects that other individuals aren't covering. So we decided to do lure. And what we do is each week we're going to select the subject. Now, mind you, lure is very deep, especially in this game. You're talking about lure reaching back, 30 plus years? Because it goes back to when Chris Roberts had, what was his original game? Star Commander or some
Wing
shit?
Commander.
Wing Commander?
Yeah.
I didn't play that. I wasn't in the space games.
Yeah.
You missed something, dude. Back in the day, it was hot shit.
Oh yeah. So the lore stretches back to that time period. So we got a dense situation to deal with. So what we're going to do this week is we're actually going to touch on the UEE, the development of the UEE. We're going to take a small sample of that, and considering my org's position, we are anti-UEE, we're anti-bureaucracy, anti-control. We believe in liberty, free enterprise. And the UEE, unfortunately, has placed itself in the Stanton system without Stanton being represented in the UEE Senate. So essentially, we're like, fuck you, UEE, you have no jurisdiction here. Now, as far as the timeline is concerned, there was several different things that has happened over the history of humanity. And the beginning of the UEE starts in the 26th century, but there were several different things that happened along that time. An entity that existed just prior to that was the United Nations of Earth. That happened after terraforming efforts were done. The UEE in its infancy began as the United Nations of Earth. So do you guys touch base on this subject?
A little bit, yes.
A little bit.
So the UEE was founded and began expanding, and that was like the time of what's it called? The time of expanse? No, it's not the time of expanse. It had like a title. Era of expansion. Was it expansion?
Yeah, the human colonial expansion era.
That's
Messer was the individual that founded it, and he was the first prime citizen.
Now you got me confused, dude.
Ira Messer? Yeah, he was the very first prime senator. I mean, a prime citizen, rather. So the prime citizen was the highest government office obtained United Planets of Earth, 2546.
So I got a sorry, Ace. Go on.
Yeah, go ahead. No, you go ahead. You
So
want to say something?
I was just looking at the timeline, right? I kind of went off a bit off topic, Delta. So
Yeah, go ahead.
So I sort of picked two kind of things that are really interesting to me. So I kind of moved back from the UE, and I kept going up and up and up and up the timeline, and I discovered one of the first entries in the timeline. This is 300,000 BC, right? 300,000 BC. There was another alien race that has gone extinct that I had no freaking idea was in the lore or what they were, and they're called the Hadesians. So there are some systems called Hades 4, Hades 1, or the Hades system. Yeah. There is another alien race that I would love to see someone do some artwork or some concept, because I had no freaking idea these guys existed, right? So these guys had a civil war. They kind of expanded a little bit, but they didn't really find any jump points, so they stayed within their system, and they had a catastrophic kind of civil war, kind of maybe our future as human race, and before anything they went extinct. But if you ever see the Hades system in the star map, guys, that's because there was another alien race that I had no idea existed called the Hadesians or Hadesians. So that blew my mind, dude. That I didn't know there was just other alien ancient race that kind of killed themselves.
Yeah. The only place I ever heard about them before was in I think I read some article that was about space archaeology, basically.
Right.
That there's like archaeology expeditions, and they search for ancient aliens and stuff like that. So
yeah. So I'm hoping if this game ever gets done and the Hades system ever gets done, that we'll have the opportunity to, walk across some Hadesian ruins and stuff. That would be
great. Yeah, some really cool alien ruin architecture. Yeah.
Yep, and down a rabbit hole we go, because as I said when we began this segment, that there's so much to talk about, and none of that has to do with the UEE.
Yeah, I couldn't even get to the UE. I'm still at 300,000 BC. So the next thing.
So
go on.
Yeah, go ahead. Well, you're in 300,000 BC, but we're going to roll with the United Nations of Earth.
Yeah,
was the first unified government for humanity in its first diasporas. 2380 is the time period that we see this happening, and then it reforms itself into the United Planets of Earth, 2523.
UPE.
Yep. Then we're running in 2523 with the United Planets of Earth up until 2546. We start to some dynamics there are shifting. Then Ivor Messer's ascendancy to prime citizen in 2546 also ushers in the United Empire of Earth. And then at that point, you see the United Empire of Earth, the UEE. It starts to get in some shady shit, dude. And it is going through the universe and just establishing its territory wherever it wants to. To me, that's a philosophical fucking issue. Does Earth own every fucking thing in the universe? It is very pretentious in the fact that it feels that it needs to impose its authority on every entity that it crosses.
If you put a flag in it, it's yours. That's old Earth rules,
If you put a flag in it, it's yours, and as long as you have the ability to dominate and impose your authority, then I guess you have quote unquote a legitimate authority. But to me, man, I at what point do we separate and disconnect from fucking Earth? Like, we got to cut the umbilical cord. That's what we're here to do. We're here to cut that umbilical cord from Earth and disrupt the UEE's authority, because as we move into other systems, that's all they're going to do is just continue to plague the fucking universe with their imposition and their goddamn taxes.
Actually, that cord has been cut already. The official seat of the human empire is not
Terra?
Earth, it's Terra. Yeah, it has been moved to Terra, specifically for some sort of symbolic act to make sure everybody understood the message. Like Terra is the new.
Was Terra the Tavaran home planet, or am I just making things up? What was Terra? The bearing is found in Terra. No, it's not. Sorry, I'm just reading. Let me read Terra. Let me quickly read Terra. Terra, commonly referred to by its system name, was a 12th planet colonized by the UE. Has made great strides towards becoming cultural. While die-hard Earth loyalists would dispute such a claim, there is no doubt that Terra has its finger on the pulse of the civilized galaxy. From the increasing inflow of mega corporate headquarters to the system to influence of Terra nor originated music on popular culture, Terra is unquestionably the closest thing to a rival Earth has ever produced in 4 centuries, owing to its jump network and locations. Okay. It's kind of like more central than Earth. It's evolved into a massive trade hub. There you go.
So it's basically the Earth you were talking about is now Terra.
Yeah. So they just, by way of centralization.
Yes.
Also, what the thing I focused most on, while doing the research, I also drifted off a little bit, was the whole starting wars with alien species. Like they came to planet and were like, okay, let's just terraform this fucker, and the aliens were like, excuse me, sir, this is already taken. And
that's not as a stark tangent as what Ace did here. He went back 30,000 years. We were supposed to be moving forward. He went backwards.
But I mean that's the whole thing. The Messer era used the fear of a war with an alien species, which they created themselves at the beginning, basically. If you think about it. So, and they used that fear to establish their, let's call it a semi-military dictatorship, which they imposed upon the whole universe until the Messers were no longer accepted.
Yeah, dude, and we're paying taxes in Stanton, and we don't have any representation. And it's funny to see how as Earth's culture itself developed and slowly began to centralize global authority and work together. You see personalities from the various players in the game. Then with its dictatorial style, it leaves them. Take for instance, we colonized Mars. There was an instance on Mars in the lore to where when we were there terraforming, there was some issues with the UEE and the Martians that first colonized. Then, quote unquote, there was an accident. I personally don't think it was an accident. I think that it was UEE. And I'm going into conspiracy theory here, because we only know what they told us during that time. I think the UE they were responsible for sabotaging the terraforming efforts, which actually led into Mars becoming a fucking ice planet. And then
I would not be surprised, man. I would not be surprised.
Yeah, absolutely, man.
5,000,
especially during the Messers, man.
5,000 souls lost their lives in that accident on Mars.
It wasn't an accident.
Sorry. On that incident. Sorry.
Yeah. It was an incident created by the UEE. They created it. They came back with PR and they even decided, as disgusting as it is, they created this event. They forced it to happen, and then they want to make a memorial day for it. I mean, to me, that's honestly fucking atrocious, dude. That is very repugnant. And as far as that's concerned, man, the UEE needs to get the fuck back. Go back to Terror, chill the fuck out, go somewhere else. Don't bring shit here. I mean, I'm about sick of it.
You know, you guys kind of touch on something that kind of has been underlying for me, is that during this whole time in Star Citizen, and I read the history and the lore and stuff, and like my background as a person, I'm very like anti kind of army, anti-authoritarian, anti, you know, if you want to say anti-military type person, right? And the UEE is, I mean, United Earth Empire. The word empire already implies a lot of things. And like you guys have already touched on, the aggressiveness and the belligerent, you know, actions of humanity across the galaxy and all that stuff. We're not the good guys in this verse. And that's what, you know, it's a big gray area, and maybe the Banu are not the good guys. You know, it's just kind of humanity. We're always in this gray area. But when leading to Squadron 42, which is, from what I can see, a massive UEE fest, it kind of rubs me the wrong way, because that's not who I am. You know, I don't want to be just another pilot in the Air Force shooting down guys, you know. So yeah, the UE sits uncomfortably with me, and humanity's actions, and I like that. That, you know, we're not the, you know, like in Star Trek, the goody Federation, and we're always the best.
Absolutely.
We're the best people, and we teach other aliens about morality, and you know, we're actually we're actually like we would be if we had any power, and we'd be.
That would be fucking hypocrisy, dude. You go to teach an alien species about the morality, and you're there to dominate and control them.
Yeah. So I like the fact that the UEE is kind of twisted, sort of grey area of morality and stuff. So yeah, it's an interesting thing that you guys have touched on.
Yeah, man. So I mean, that's essentially what I wanted to do. I wanted to touch on it lightly, and we'll continue to do this. I know we didn't get too deep into it, but we just wanted to sample that to where we've established somewhere to go with it. Yep. And as we develop, you know, these lure sections, we'll get deeper and deeper into it. And as you can see, the lure is deep. Those, you can jump into lure, start clicking, moving around, investigating, and you're in a rabbit hole on a completely different subject in 300,000 BC. So we'll continue to do this, and as we sample it, we'll probably just choose one subject and then run with that and try to give more detail about it. But it's considering the UEE is in Stanton, we have to pay taxes, we get our ships boarded, you know, et cetera, whatnot. You get ran down by UEE when you have bounties as well on your head. They shouldn't be there. That's my point about that.
I know which side Delta's going to be on when the events come into play.
Any UE soldier that I would bring the shit back tribal if we could. Once we loot, I might just keep all my UEE helmets from all the players that I killed that were UEE, like the Predator, and just set them in my ship in different places.
Trophies.
Yeah, so Mazda. You got another segment. Let's transition into that.
It's open mic time, guys. So we're getting towards the end of the podcast, everyone. Thank you so much for joining us. In open mic time, we just air any thoughts or ideas or anything. So typically go around the table. I'll start off with myself to get things started, guys. I want to keep it lighthearted as well. So what do you guys think about, or do you guys purchase, or have you purchased, or what do you think about the skins that are available in the shop for Star Citizen? So what you guys are thinking about that? For me, like, you know, I was having this discussion with someone, unfortunately, on my stream. Like, you know, Star Citizen has to get revenue from somewhere. It doesn't have a publisher, so it sells ships, and that has certain impacts on design and whatever. So I've always said on my stream that, you know, if somehow Star Citizen can somehow magically go away from ships to another revenue model, or you know what, even if they can't totally go off ships but introduce an additional revenue model, then I'm all for it, because I think it opens up another stream of money. It might alleviate some pressure on them developing more and more ships as much, maybe. So personally, I'm a fan of the skins. I've bought one or two. What kind of on the downside sits a little bit on the negative side for me is the cost of some of the skins. I think are a bit too high. So that kind of sits a little bit uncomfortably with me.
As an example, Moss, like I haven't looked into the skins. Don't typically get into skins in game. Because they often don't produce the aesthetic that I'm looking for. You know, I like the gritty, grungy kind of shit. Like my character in Star Citizen looks more like Cyrax from fucking Mortal Kombat.
Yeah.
So what are you actually talking about specifically in value here, and what are you getting?
So
they're between $5 and $15. That's about the average price for the skins.
Or what though?
What?
Like specifically skin for what? Any skin?
No, not any skin. Like specific skins for specific ships. You need to get them in the store.
Mm-hmm.
Well, the way I see it, I don't know. I like to buy them even for ships I don't have.
Okay.
Because of just exactly what you mentioned beforehand. They don't have like a subscription model. I'm not always subscribed to the subscriber store, so I kind of help out with that. I just buy skins, and once you got a bunch of them, even for ships you don't have, there's always sale time in November and December, or what it is, and you can just melt them and buy.
Can you gift them, Ace?
Yes, you can gift them.
Because that's a great little gift. That's a good little gift for streamers or whoever. Even on this podcast, we can say, "Here's, you win some skins." So okay, that's interesting, Ace.
It's a nice addition.
So it depends.
That's interesting.
So my previous MMO, we had skins for skins for armor, skins for weapons. We had it was medieval, so we didn't have ships and shit, but you could many different aspects. So one of the other things that game did is they also had decorations that you could buy. So once we move into, say, base building, they could institute statues and shit.
Yeah. They actually have some
that you can have and put places.
Well, you could place them in the hangars before the hangars were completely fucked and you couldn't even access the hangars. But it was subscriber flare items. I have some stuff I got from friends and subscription.
That's an avenue they could go, because I'm always down to buy badass statues, especially if I have a base to stick it at. Now, as far as $5 to $15, I have to say that for me, coming from the previous game, their skins were $20 to $40. So $5 to $15 is really not a lot of money to me for a skin.
I think the price is fair, man.
If it's $15 and the shit is badass, that's something. If it's just like $5 for a particular color, maybe that's not too bad. Unless you have a shit ton of ships and you're like, oh, I want a skin for every fucking one of my ships, and you have 50, then you have to pay.
Just to put a caveat, you're right. There's the price is at like $3.30 for a particular color, but you can only apply it to one ship. Like it's only an arrow skin, for example.
Yeah.
Okay. They're specific.
Yeah, they're quite specific. But in their defense, I'm glad, because I'm not very familiar with skins. So I'm glad that Delta, you've got experience. You think the price is fine, so that's good. And Ace is helping out the project by buying skins, and I like it. Like I said, I like it. I just thought maybe the price might be a little bit too high, but that's just me. Maybe the Australian dollar converting into the US dollar makes it a little bit more painful, but yeah, all good. So
All right, yeah.
that's my hot topic, skins, guys. So
What's your
Delta.
Ace? No, let's go with Ace first because I got something that I'm really excited about that I'm sure a lot of veteran players know about, but for those new players, they don't know about this, and I want to get this out there.
Okay.
Well, I wanted to talk about long-term goals that you set for yourself in the verse. Like going forward, let's assume in 2 years from now we have a semi-finished game, and what is your thought?
Oh, dude,
where are you gonna?
you just made me salivate.
Okay, that's a rabbit hole, I know, but
Yeah, no, I'm saying you made me
try to
salivate,
make
dude.
it short.
As far, and I do have a tendency to long wind shit, but long-term goals, dude, what I aim to do is I want to have a small group of players. I don't want a massive org. I don't want 4,000 fucking people and 200 active daily. I want to have a small org, more like Israel. I want a small group of people that when we're fucked with, we will lay waste to your ass and move the fuck on and function to where we're in all aspects of the verse. I want to be in mining, trading, refining, anything that we're into. I want to have the best players that are effective, efficient, and they are able to produce the end result that we all as an org want to achieve, be that PvE or PvP.
Okay, good.
Yeah, for me, Ace, I want to continue to get better at PvP. That's the like long term, short term, medium term goal. I haven't typically been a PvPer, but Star Citizen's really allowed me to I kind of ventured out of my comfort zone because there wasn't much else to do. And then slowly, now all I do is play Star Marine. I engage in combat constantly. That's kind of my personal long-term goal. I think for my orgs, like Skeleton Crew, I want to... I want us to also grow, like Delta said, with maybe 20, 30 sort of really good players is important for me, and I want to become a hub of data if I can, like mining information, help Galactic Logistics with their trade information and stuff like that. But I want like data and information gathering is something that if the gameplay loops allow to happen to get across and become a master of data would be a long-term goal in the verse, gameplay loops permitting.
Okay, cool.
All right. Well,
I personally mostly plan to grind for money until I have enough piled up so that I can buy a Pioneer in game, and then the long-term goal is to build housing on desolate space planets. Yeah, that's the goal. Like,
yeah. So you want to do low-income housing? Is that what
low income? Nah, just like
you said, desolate space.
Yeah, well, it's space colonies, like not necessarily low income housing.
You're gonna have
resorts in hell.
He wants to resorts, not migrants from Grimhex.
Resorts. Actually,
Free pyro.
Yeah, free pyro. Actually, you're right, man. Like if once we get habs, hopefully, decorating the hab. And like I'm the type of guy that like when there's a hab mechanic in the game, I don't buy anything from the store. All I have in my hab is things that I've collected in the universe. Yeah. So I can look at it, put it on a shelf and go, I remember that. I did that mission to get that. I remember that. I did that mission to get that. So I hope to have plenty of good hab stuff in missions and Bible in the shops and stuff in the game.
Oh yeah, I'm also hoping for like small rewards for certain quests and stuff like this. And just minor things you could like place on a table or on a rack or on a shelf and
Yeah.
have them displayed. Even on ships. I mean, I guess at some point we're moving that direction. Like maybe ships will have like some slots like the hangars had where you could place down the model of the caterpillar or like the boost cabinet. I hope
Yeah.
ships get added some sort of thing to add a little flair.
Yeah.
You know, those little plushy dice that have to hang in the cockpit and stuff.
Cutlass needs one of those, man, and needs like a poster of a big, fuck you sign in the back somewhere on the wall,
Ripped on the edges,
yeah,
slightly torn and worn.
And what about you, Delta? What's your open mic topic,
dude? So I ran across this map accidentally, and from what I understand, a lot of the veteran or players that have been on here for a year back know about this map. But as a new citizen, even doing a lot of research, I never ran across this shit until the other day. But the Arc Star map.
Ah, yeah, I see what happened.
We're gonna include the link to the Arc Star map in the description below. But for those individuals that don't know about this, you need to understand the potential that this game could be once we start getting new systems, and we'll get Pyro probably next year. I don't foresee Pyro coming out this year. But look at how many systems are actually on this map. Then you get an idea compared to where we're at now. We're in the Stanton system. Look at how many systems they have on this map where they want to take this game. And some of them are going to be smaller than Stanton. Some of them probably are going to be larger than Stanton. This game is going to be so fucking massive that I don't think that, the first big sim game was, sim itself, the Sims. It's taken this to an extent to where some people aren't going to fucking leave this game, dude. I mean, it's crazy. This shit blew my fucking mind when I came here.
Yeah.
And you can actually click on each one individually, and it will take you there and show you all of the planets, the moons, everything. They're already developing the general idea for these areas. And I don't know, I'm blown away. I'm honestly speechless, and that's very fucking rare.
I mean, to touch on that, the cool thing about this is that they are developing and have developed Planetech to a level where they can just make up a few planets in a really short time. Like a small team of designers can now come together, use their software, which they have established works, create the planet from scratch, now even add the whole cloud system which came. All this is possible due to the long development beforehand. That's another thing people should not forget.
Thinking about the gameplay loops and the player created content that can come out of this, just considering, looking at Stanton, we're going to get Pyro. What are they going to do next? Are they going to do Magnus, Hadrian, Nyx? I don't know. Someone may know the list, so don't chastise me for not knowing. But essentially, it's fucking massive. Beautiful. God damn, dude, it's fucking crazy. What about you, Moz? Have you ever seen this map?
Oh yeah, man. This map sometimes used to, when I first got into Star Citizen, was click on all the planets and daydream about things. I've moved on from the map now, Delta. I'm like a bitter, twisted veteran that kind of has put the map aside for now. But no, man. I mean, that's the dream, right? Those systems, those for me, looking at the Banu and the Xi'an systems more than the human systems, and wondering, man, imagine like actually flying to a Banu system, a Banu city, a Banu, seeing the alien civilizations and stuff. That kind of really gets my imagination, flying, and hopefully one day, fingers crossed.
In closing this section, I'm going to say this, and then I'm done. So, with looking at this and knowing where we are currently in the development, understand, and I say this, I repeat this a lot, and I'm going to continue to repeat this. You cannot look at this game as alpha beta release. You can't sit here and say, oh, when this game releases, this game will be forever in development, because of the main system that they're trying to create, and they're pioneering new programming technologies for gaming that honestly are unprecedented. I mean, which is why I just use fucking the adjective pioneering. I mean, the adverb rather. But I mean, I don't know, dude. This fucking blew my mind. And now, are we in a position to where we have servers that are going to be able to support this? Fuck no. They're going to have to probably test the boundaries of servers when they get here.
Well, that's what server meshing will be for, to solve this issue in particular. Like, to make it even possible to have this kind of universe in the background. It's not only so
fingers crossed, boys and girls. Fingers crossed.
Yeah.
We'll
get there.
All the eggs are in the server meshing basket, so to speak. So yeah,
very much.
Yeah, fingers crossed. All right, because that's the end of open mic session. Thank you, gentlemen. The very interesting topics, food for thought for everyone. We're going to move on to. I'm assuming we're going to start taking questions. Delta, or we don't have any questions.
I actually did get a question from a player. That was a new player that had interest in the game. One of the questions he had sent in was, can you fit ships and ships? Because he didn't understand the scale and what we're capable of doing in the game. He was just looking at the game, thinking about playing it. And I guess one of the things that interested him was putting vehicles inside of ships and ships and ships and vehicles in ships and ships. So yeah, that to answer your question, you absolutely can do that. And to understand the scale, you'd have to get into the game, because to be honest with you, the Cuddy is not a massive ship. But I didn't realize how large it was until we went to run some ground missions in a cave. And homeboy was like, oh, that's the cave right there. And I'm like, and I had never been to a surface of a planet, not in that regard. Then when I'm landing, I'm like, no, it's not. That's a fucking anthill. What is that? That's just a fucking anthill. And the closer and closer I got, I realized how large the Cuddy was in comparison to the entrance to the cave. So I couldn't imagine, these capital ships, how large they would be in comparison. I mean, it's easy to think about like in meters or feet or whatever measurement you use, but to actually see it in comparison to something else in the game is really fucking phenomenal.
Yeah. Just to add further to answer the question, I think the whole Star Citizen community, one of their addictions is putting things into things. So the answer is definitely yes. Whenever some ship comes out, there's like 1,000 memes and stuff of how much stuff they can shove into this new ship, whether it's bikes, trucks, whatever it is. So
without exploding, that's always the challenge.
Without exploding, that's it. Yeah.
He likes to see how many of things he can fit into a ship. So he has gotten it all to where he can put 3 rocks in a Cuddy.
There you go.
And that's it, man. That's everything. We covered everything.
Okay, so then that's it for this week's episode, I guess. For all of those social links and our community Discord, you should check that out in the description below. You'll find the links. You can send feedback to us or questions, obviously. We would like to answer more questions from you guys. Send them to thecitizenfeed@gmail.com. We appreciate your support, guys, and the interaction. And spool that like button and quantum back to the Citizen Feed by clicking that notification bell so you get a notification every time we broadcast.
Thanks,
That's
guys.
There you go. Delta X 85.
Mozsta69.
See you next week.
Bye, guys.